Okay, hello everyone. We are going to get started. I am Nicole Brower. I'm the GA director. Also the head coach of the U14 and U15 GA teams. On the call with me is Dave Bucciero. He is our newly appointed Aspire director, as well as a coach of the U16 GA girls team and the our director of college placement. We want to say at first that we really appreciate you, everyone being on the call. I know it was hopefully a fun weekend with everyone being in the tournament. It was beautiful weather, but I know it was a long weekend. I personally had 7 games out to many other games, getting to see teams play. So it was a lot. And I do appreciate everyone taking the time to be on the call. We wanted to bring everyone together for this town hall. Loudon Soccer is asking all of the programs to do a town hall. So there'll be one on the boys' side, the girls' side, the travel side, as well as GA and Aspire, with the intent to talk about this shared standard. So Loudon wants to have some unity across the club so that when your child comes and decides to play with Loudon Soccer, whether it is on the boys or their girls side, there can be some, you have expectations of us and we have expectations of you, and we all have clarity on exactly what that means. So I'll go through the slides. Some of them are Loudon specific. Most of them are GA and Aspire specific. We're excited to talk about what's going on with the GA and Aspire. Um, and we will just get going. So this meeting will be it is being recorded. We are not doing a Q&A just to be respectful of your time, but I will have contact information at the end. So if you do have questions, just make notes of them, and then you can certainly contact Dave or I at the end. So, starting with our mission and our mission statement, the standard is bigger than soccer. If you've been with Loudon for a while, I'm sure you've seen our motto, developing champions for life. This is something where we want to make sure that we are developing and hiring, developing players and hiring coaches and having staffing that are of strong character, both on and off the field. And so this is important to us. I know it's important to me on the girls' side that we have a staff that models good character for the young ladies that play for us, and then we make sure we nurture it going forward. So this is something that, again, it's across the board that we want to make sure that our players know, whether we're working in the community or we're working on the field, whatever it's going to be, that we have that strong character. So no fog, no guessing. This is the reason we're having a town hall. So we have some clarity with you. So it's those expectations that I talked about. So if you come to Loudon Soccer, you're going to have expectations of professionalism from us, and we're going to have expectations from you. Like, for instance, things as it says here, like what matters. So training habits. Can we train with intensity? It'll be something that you'll see throughout this presentation, and that's very important to us on the girls in the girls programming for the GA and Aspire. Making brave decisions. Can we have risk takers? And then what it looks like while we have a demanding but positive player-centered environment. So coaches are always thinking about who's in front of them, how they are coaching, and what is in the best interest of the player. And then how we measure it, do we have actually ways to see that we're being successful and that our players are developing? So that's going to be things like the feedback loops with the IDPs, and I'll talk about those in more detail a little bit later on. Having our VO, so all of our programs on both sides, the GA and Aspire, have VO for use, and using that for feedback for our players, and just making sure that they understand our team standards and what we're looking for. So we've divided our U13 through U19s into 3 different phases. And this has been really important for us. Like when we do everything from staffing to programming to all of our planning, we look at the different phases because we know a 13-year-old girl is going to have different needs than a 17-year-old, and we want to make sure we're meeting them. So for instance, that foundation age is that U13 through U14, and it's going to be maybe a little more focused on the technical end. We want players who have comfort on the ball, so a lot of ball work and making sure that we are producing those players but then also joy. I love that joy is in there. We want the players to have fun. We want them to enjoy it. I can tell you, I always say this, fun is not easy. I respect that these are elite athletes. They're playing at a very high level and they want to be challenged. That is fun to them to be challenged. So our staff makes sure that we're intentional about that with our training sessions. As soon as something becomes easy, then we look for the next challenge because we know that they're going to be seeking it and that's what they enjoy and it was what fun and what is fun. I would say with the foundation age as well, it's an important one because there's a huge drop off between age 12 and 4. I mean, sorry, 12 and 14 for girls' sports. And we want to make sure that we're providing a great environment and we're not seeing that attrition happen. So then the next stage is development. And this is where, again, we're finding new ways to challenge them tactically. Can they understand the game? It's also a time when we're really starting to give the girls autonomy and work on that leadership. It's something that I call that they're finding their voice. We really want the girls to start leading themselves on the field, and we want to see that understanding of the game so that they can do that. So in that development stage, it's a really important one for us that again, that they're understanding that they can be leaders, they can use their voice, and they can understand the game. And then in our oldest age group is that performance. And that's where we're building a lot of resilience, where maybe we're putting them in some pressures and we're trying to help them understand what a performance environment would be like, especially for players looking to play at a higher level in college or in other levels, so that they understand that this is what the demands are going to be when we're playing at these levels. So we have this platform that we have at Loudon Soccer with the Girls Academy and the Girls Aspire. We actually don't have it on this slide, but we also added Girls Inspire, which is our U11 through U12. It's brand new league that the GA, the Girls Academy, has just set up for us. So we have two teams, a U11 and U12 team in that's part of our GA family, so that there is a pathway for all of our players to move forward. I'm sure that we've we've had players that have moved between the teams, and that's the intention of it, that there's going to be a space where the players can find the right fit for themselves going forward. So that goes for with the elite platform. We try to give them exposure with the showcase tournaments that the GA has. There'll be college coaches there, and Coach Dave will speak a little bit more to that. But also, the GA is unique in that it allows girls to still play high school soccer, which is a former high school coach I love. We actually have a high school coach on our staff as well. High school soccer is fun. The girls love it, and we want to support it. It's not the easiest thing, and we work through it. And that's something that, as our coaches and the GA itself, tries to allow, so that they're not scheduling league games during the Loudoun County High School season. So it's another reason why we like being a part of the GA. So the environment's kind of the culture that our players are going to find themselves in. So it's it encompasses a lot of different things. Our training environment, like I spoke with before, we want it to be intense, intensity before comfort. So again, we're just constantly challenging them. We're putting them under pressure and helping them try to rise from that. Owning the feedback really is just that accountability. That they take feedback from their coaches, they try out what they do, they reflect on it, and they take accountability from themselves. We want them competing. We want to hear our players communicate early. And this would go for all of the teams. It's back to players finding their voice. I know the coaches prefer to hear from the player first and then the parent second. So try to help the player problem solve whatever questions she may have. Her do that first, just because we're trying to help her there, trying to learn to advocate for herself. And then the recovery is just something that be a through line that we will definitely be talking about, especially after this weekend. It's something that I'm sure all of the coaches talked about, what matters and what it looks like to be competing at this elite environment. So then our sessions, our teams across the platform train anywhere from 2 to 4 nights a week, depending on the programming that they have. And in Loudon Soccer, we're looking to build those sessions. So the first session of every week, when teams are training, it's more skill acquisition, and so it's a little more small-sided. So 3v3s and 4v4s. And then for a lot of players on the Spire side, you'll have the TA, which probably a lot of you have come through, and that's the Wednesday night training that they have. And then the GA has their own GA night that we have this year on Wednesday nights with new programming. And that's more of a functional night, which functional means like our center backs and our back four maybe be training on defensive concepts. Our forwards maybe training on attacking in the final third. And so we're specific with those and we can give them the attention. It's also when we can do goalkeeper training, bring our goalkeepers out and do those type of things. And then our third night of training or fourth, depending on where your team is more game concepts. And we want to make sure we're putting our players into games. So we would have games between two different teams. And then we would talk with the coaches and we would give each other problems. So if one team is working on starting the attack, the other team might be working on pressing. And so those two would kind of like give each other problems to solve. And we look to do that all with the intention that when we go into game day, we have targets in mind, and we're ready for our game days coming forward by preparing through the week. So knowing your superpower. So if anyone has played soccer back in the day, these words are probably not familiar to you. It's just like connector would be like the midfielder, what we would call. And this is some language that we got from our partnership with Arsenal. And we're going to be seeing this language throughout. It's again trying to have Loudon have one standard and we understand. So we are trying to have a common language amongst the coaches so that if you have a daughter who maybe at 13 was playing on Aspire and the next year she goes to U14 GA or she goes to a new coach, that same language, those coaches will be using the same language and she's not having to learn new things. So again, connector is kind of that center mid. It's someone who's finding those passes, who's connecting things through the midfield going forward. Finisher is our strikers. It's our players that are scoring those goals. The carrier would be kind of like your wings and your outside defenders. Are they driving down the channel, getting forward? And our stopper is that classic defender that she's being brave, dueling, and understanding positioning. As it says here, no label is a ceiling. So, it doesn't mean that just because at U13, maybe your daughter is a connector, it's what she's going to end up being at U16. But this is just how we are looking at it and how we look at the roles that the different players can have. So this is where I was talking again about the IDPs and that we want to make sure we're helping your daughter develop. So this is with different types of feedback and our staff is focused on this. So immediate feedback. So in a game or in a session, can we give feedback right away? Can we have touch points where we're meeting and we're talking with our players and have that open relationship? And I know on both the GA and Aspire side, we have a great staff of open coaches that are willing to give that feedback. And then we have more traditional plan feedback. So last year, like you did the IDPs, those are going to be coming to you just in the next few weeks. And I would challenge if players are on this call right now or parents, that can't just all be coach generated. So when you fill out those IDP forms, that's where you're taking some ownership of your development and where you're going. And you need to really be thinking about, okay, these are the things that I'm good at. These are the things I want to work. Here are my goals. Here's my 3-month goal. Here's my 1 year. Here's my 5-year goal. And really take some time in filling out that IDP. And that's going to help your coach know you better, be able to give you better feedback. And then we'll have those traditional sit down meetings in November, December, where we take the time and go over the feedback in detail and try to support you as much as possible. Okay, and so these next two slides, Dave is gonna go for us. So go ahead, Dave.
Thanks, Nicole. Like Nicole said, part of my role with Loudon Soccer is the director of college placement. We've had a number of players in the club that have gone on and played at the collegiate level. And you're going to see here in a second on the next slide a few of the recent players that are playing in college. But it's important that everybody understands for both the Aspire and the GA teams, there's going to be opportunities to be recruited for those of you that have aspirations of playing collegiately, not only through the GA and Aspire showcases, but for the tournaments and showcases outside of the league, there'll be opportunities for college exposure. Like the slide says here, recruiting it's a process. Every journey is a little bit different. There's some players that get recruited early on in their high school years. Some players don't get recruited until later in their high school years, sometimes even into their senior year. It's important to understand that every player's recruiting is a little bit different, but what's most important is that players are proactive in the process and aggressive reaching out to college coaches. Sports Recruits is a company that we've partnered with Loudoun Soccer the last couple of years. And we found that they've been very helpful for all our players. Sports Recruits is a company that offers for Loudoun Soccer, every player U15 through U19 will have an account. And at that account is an online platform where players can upload video, they can put together the academic information, and they can communicate with college coaches, like it says on the slide here. Sports Recruits is really good for organizing college recruiting. It can help the players keep track of the emails that are going in and out from college coaches, and it helps them easily navigate and find out information about colleges, programs across the country, not only at Division I level, but the Division II and III level as well. So we found Sports Recruits has been really great. On the next slide, Nicole, if you want, thank you very much. So at this slide, you can see these are some of our recent players in Loudoun Soccer. They are actually coming from our 2008 and 2009 teams. And these players are either currently playing for a college program listed here, or they're committed to play for a college program. And as you can see, there's a lot of differences between the programs and the universities. Some are smaller schools, some are bigger schools, some are Division III, some are Division I. But what I tell every player and every family is that if a player wants to play at the collegiate level, there's a school out there for them. They just, like I said before, need to be proactive, communicating with college coaches, paying attention to the showcases that they go to, paying attention to the college coaches that are attending those events, and reaching out to them and letting them know that they are interested in that program. For families or players that have any questions on Sports Recruits, I'm happy to help out in any way that I can. Just reach out to me at any point. And for any family or players that are interested in the college recruiting process and have any questions, I'm happy to help as well. Just reach out anytime. And just know also that in October, I'm going to put on a presentation on the college recruiting process that's going to go into more detail. So that'll be in October, so be on the lookout for that.
Okay. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
I just would like to add to this, most of these recruits came, we're only 1 year into GA, so we're very proud of a lot of these girls getting scouted last year in the program and coming forward. So again, if it is an ambition for your daughter to want to play at that next level, we feel that we're in a strong place to be able to support her to do that. All right, this is actually the second to last slide, and it's the boring stuff. But adding in here, this is just what makes our teams work and makes our clubs work. Things like the team roles. I always appreciate our team managers and our treasurers. They really, if you should thank them any chance that you get, because they having a good team manager and treasurer makes everything so much easier on the coaching side, which makes us do our jobs better, helping your daughters. And this just everything with tournaments. We're trying to have clarity with where we're going with tournaments, what tournaments we're going to, how staying as transparent as possible. And then you probably all had individual team meetings with your coach with that 24-hour cooling off period. It's just in here so you know, again, this is allowed in soccer across the board slide, that's something that's allowed in soccer policy, not just your coach policy, that we ask that you do those things. But that's really just the nuts and bolts of things that are really helping the club as overall. And that brings us to the end. Um, you know, it's I I have been really happy with everything we have seen going into this new year. Our first year was a lot of learning new things. It was great to be a part of both the GA and Aspire. And now going into a new year, having that understanding amongst the staff, having a new platform with like Inspire coming forward. I know that we're very excited at Loudon Soccer, what it's going to look like and moving forward. And even just coming off this weekend and seeing all the teams play and the levels that they're looking to play at, it's been exciting for us. So we we're looking forward to what is next. Again, if you have any questions, if you made notes of them, you know, just please feel free to reach out. If it's a GA question, please feel free to reach out to me. If it's Aspire specific, you would reach out to Dave. But we're here, as is your coach. We're here to support your daughter. We're excited for the year coming up, and that is, and that's the end. Thank you so much for getting in the call. We really appreciate it.